is not because he wants to control us. If he wanted to control you, he would have made you a tree. You grow when he say grow, you die when he say die. You wouldn't walk anywhere or do anything or say anything, but no, you are made in the image of God with a free will, with the ability to choose. And in his word, he tells us, listen, I've set before you life and death. And then he says this in the scripture, he says, oh, that you would choose life so you'd live. He tells us what sin is because he wants us to live and not die. He wants us to know that that sin that we choose is choosing death in our soul, little by little. And if somebody told me back then what sin was, and something was a sin, I'd say, well, I'm doing that, you're not controlling me, I'm going to go do that. And what I didn't realize is that I was choosing death, little by little, and little by little I was dying more and more inside, feeling more empty, feeling more dead. And I'd have to make it even worse the next time to feel even alive at all, and soon I didn't feel anything, and I felt so empty, so numb, so dead, and I didn't want to wake up anymore. And so I decided, you know, I can't make myself happy no matter what I do. It always gets so empty, and I'm just gonna stop waking up. And I decided I was gonna commit suicide. And on the day I planned to commit suicide, I was 16 years old. I went to school to tell all my friends, some of my friends, in my own way, tell them goodbye. I was coming home. My grandmother was supposed to be in the hospital with my grandfather. He had had a heart attack earlier that week. And she was home when I got there. What are you doing skipping school? She said to me, and she's interrupting my plans. And I was just saying, can you just leave me alone? And she says, no, you're living in my house, you're skipping school, you're gonna go to church tonight. That's what you're gonna do, that's your punishment. And I said, oh, well, let me tell you what I think about church. And I began to explain my unbelief for the first time to my grandma. And she's like, oh, well, let me tell you something. No matter what you think you believe, you're going to church tonight. And she went on this whole thing. She's a very strong woman. Not in my house. We're not having this. And so she spoke. She screamed at me until I finally said, if you just be quiet, I'll go to church. So I ended up going to church that night and sitting in the back of the room and hating everybody there. And the preacher begins to speak like I am the only person in the room. He begins to speak about the things that I've been thinking about and wondering about. He begins to speak to the pain in my heart, and all of a sudden, I'm kind of weirded out by that. I'm kind of like, this is really strange. And so then finally, he stops what he says, and he starts to cry. And I said, oh, why is he crying? Christians cry? I thought they were, well, everything's fine. And so he has my attention, and he says, there's a suicidal spirit in the room. God has a plan for you tonight, and he doesn't want you to die. He has a plan for your life. He doesn't want you to die tonight. Please come up here and let's pray for you. And I was like, there's no way I'm going up there. Let me tell you something. Pride will steal your miracle. It is not worth it. My pride didn't let me go. So I decided I'm going to leave. And I get up and I go to the back of the church, and a man stops me there and he says, I feel like the Lord wants me to speak to you, a white-headed man. I would probably just walk right past him. He stopped me, he looked at me with the purest love I'd ever seen in a strange man's eyes, and it made me stand still. Why are you looking at me like that? Like he knew me, like he loved me. God wants you to know that even though you never knew an earthly father, he will be a better father to you than any earthly father could ever be. And he has seen you when you cry yourself to sleep at night. You have been rehearsing your pain. Your pain you've experienced has come from your own sins, from the sins of other people against you and against your family. But did you know Jesus died on the cross to take the effect of sin on himself, so we don't have to carry it in our hearts anymore? If we put our faith in him, he can heal our hearts and set us free from the pain of the sin that's been impacted in our hearts. Can I pray for you and ask Jesus to take the pain out of your heart? And I said, okay, you can try, you can pray. And he put his hand on my shoulder, and as he began to pray, he said, God, I pray you wrap your arms around this girl that you created. And in that moment, I was in the presence of God for the first time. As an atheist, being in the presence of God is terrifying. Oh my God, God is real. He's real. Let me tell you something, he is real. He's real. He is not some self-help some religious idea. God, who created you, is real, and He loves you. He is your Heavenly Father. He cares about what you care about. When you cry, it breaks His